say Tony Saunders.
Yeah.
My name is Anthony George Saunders. I was born the 18th of the 11th, 28. I was born at the corner house opposite the post office, which most people in Coventry know, old people know as Wilfred Bull's old shop. I've got a picture of it here, and that's how it was, which is now, of course, now as a sells houses. What do you call it?
Estate agent?
Estate agents now. But in 1928, when I was born, that's where I was born, and that's my father's.
What was your dad's name?
Stanley George Saunders.
And your mother?
Mother was a church.
You know, was she a local person?
Fearon.
Yeah, Fearon.
Where the old crossing gates are, top of Fearon Hill they lived.
Yeah. Mm.
I think it was called the Hollies.
And your dad was a Cockleshire boy?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was 3 brothers.
Yeah.
And 2 sisters that died.
Oh, crikey, yeah. And do you remember your granddad at all? Do you ever recall your granddad? No.
No.
He died before you were
yes, he did.
born.
Yeah. No, I don't think before I was born, but I wasn't very old when he...
Yeah.
I remember my grandmother a lot more than my grandfather's.
What was the first house your dad lived in?
Well, he lived in that corner shop, as I know of, and he had it as a shop. He had that as a shop, and he had the Friday shop, which is now Brown's.
Yeah.
It was a Friday shop, and they had 2 shops, and they got fed up of running 2 shops, so they sold both shops and put the big shop in Market Square, which is now the curtain shop.
Oh, really?
And when he sold the curtain shop, when I was sold that shop, which is now the curtain shop, he sold it for £700.
Have you got another picture there?
When we moved out of the corner shop, a man took it by the name of John Walton, and that's his father there. And he still comes and sees me, and I still speak to him.
Well, how old would he be now?
I think he's about a couple of years younger than me. But we always played together. And
now, what was your first memories of Cockleshire as a child?
Well, I remember living in the big shop on Market Hill, which is, I'll say, is now the curtain shop. And when I was 12, we moved down to Montclair, where we are now.
Did you have? I don't know. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Or you?
No, I'm only one.
The only child.
I'm only sport boy.
Now, what about school days? Do you remember your first days at school?
Yes. I went to church school. A funny tale about that. I went to church school and they had Mrs. Winnie. She used to wrap your knuckles with the ruler and throw your books at her. And she was a very hard woman to work for.
Whereabouts is the church school?
The church school was up Saunders Street, which is now all houses.
Yes. Yeah.
But I had alopecia, which I lost all my hair.
Oh.
And I wasn't allowed to go to school because...
oh, how old were you then?
I must have been 9 or 10. I had to go to London every fortnight.
Did you really?
Put black cream all on it, I remember that. And when I come back to go back to school, I went up to the council school, which was at the end of Smithers Road. And they all said that I was frightened to go back to... I left that school and went the other one because I was frightened of Miss Winnie. But where that tale come from, I don't know.
Was she a bit of a tartar, was she?
She was.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about other teachers there? Were the other teachers there? Do you remember?
Yes, Mr. Hearn, Mr. Hearn and Pease.
Did you have any favourite lessons yourself?
No, not really.
No.
I liked my gardening lesson basically. We had a plot. I think my number was 4 plot, and I used to like to grow the things and do the garden.
And whereabouts are those plots?
Well, they've now put St Anne's Close on them.
Oh, right up there.
Yes, there was that down the back there.
Oh. Did you Now you're now at St Peter's School, and how did you get on there?
Well,
Did you enjoy it?
average. I wasn't a good scholar.
No. Mm.
Average.
Any particular teachers there you remember?
Yeah, it was a nice old teacher. We had all the evacuees from London, and one of the evacuee teachers come down with the children, and he was a very nice man. He lived just along here, or in digs just along here where we are now.
When the evacuees came down, did you have separate classes, or did they join in with you?
They joined in with us.
They did?
I remember, yes.
Quite a change then.
Yes, yeah.
How many was in the class, do you know? Any idea? No.
Quite big class. They were quite big. Yeah, I won't like to say because I like to know.
Did you have any special friends at school?
Well, there was Freddie Moss and Baron Moss and George Potter, Norman Mills.
Well, one or two are still about. George?
Yes.
Yeah, they're still about.
Yes. George is gone.
Oh, he's gone.
And George Potter's gone. And
so what did you get up to? Any pranks out of school or?
no.
No.
When I lived at the curtain shop, I call it. There was a father shop. One of the rooms was 2 stories high. One night Mrs. Moore, you know the Moore's buses, do you remember
Yes,
Moore's
yes,
buses?
indeed, yes.
Mrs. Moore had a hairdressing business there, and she in one room. There was Griffiths, the dentist from Cowan. He had a room to do his dental work, and I used to go in there and pump myself up on the chair and let myself down in the dentist chair when I was a little boy, hunting. And in the winter time they used to make wreaths, and they made wreaths upstairs, and all the berries, little berries used to fall off on the ground, and I used to play up there with my dinky toys. Put the berries in the lorries. And
now, which house was this, you say?
on the Market Hill.
On the Market Hill.
Which we know is a curtain shop.
Oh, yeah, yes, of course.
And there was an oil stove up there to keep us warm. And I ran to the window to see a fashion tackle come down with all the gear on it, and knocked the stove over and set it alight.
Oh dear.
And
Did you get fire brigade attend?
no, I don't think so. The paraffin oil ran all over the floor, and the paraffin oil was alight, but they switched the bath, turned the taps on in the bath, and took water upstairs and everything. They couldn't put it out.
Because there was you had lots of room that house, didn't you?
Pretty rooms.
Yes.
Another funny thing had happened there, that the shop was kept open until 8 o'clock at night, and I found a whitewash brush and 5 gallons of red paint.
Yeah.
And I painted the outside toilet, inside the pan, outside the pan, round the walls. And
What did your mother think of that?
and they found me covered in paint. I think they took my clothes off and burnt me, cut my hair off and washed me clean.
How old were you then?
I can't remember that. But I remember 3 or 4 years later the snails were still walking about the garden with red backs, and the roller and the mower was red for years afterwards.
Extraordinary.
Getting back at that shop and about the war, I remember I'm not sure it was VE or VJ, I think it was VE night. They built a big bonfire on the Market Hill, and all the boys went and got all the railings down opposite the Portobello, which is no longer a pub, by the river. Brought it up there, made a big fire, and that burnt all the wires to the electric wires and the telephone wires. Burnt them and they all fell down.
So all the power was cut off.
I remember that happened.
So
also I remember my father, because in the shop he used to sell fireworks, and what fireworks weren't sold, they used to keep for another year. And he'd got some fireworks. He put a firework on his foot and set light to it, and that went through Gaz's window. Well, Gaz's window is
where's that?
opposite Janus. What's the name of the little sweet shop?
Yes, the.
I can't think of the
I know
name.
you mean. I know you mean. Yes, near the
Picklestride.
Yeah,
Pickle
that's right.
Stride.
Near the
That
clock,
went
near
through
the clock tower.
Picklestride's window.
That was a long way.
Yeah.
It was crikey.
I can't.
So what year did you leave the what we now call the curtain shop.
I was 12 when we come here.
12. So just before, well,
38,
1940?
3940,
1940?
Yes.
Just before the war you left there then?
Yes.
Well, your dad was a bit of an entrepreneur, wasn't he? He'd try all sorts of things, if I remember.
Well, when he had the shop, he was very friendly with a man who ran a farm for an old lady on the estate. And she died, and the estate was bought, and he lost his job. And there was a farm at Stanway, Kemp's Farm at Stanway, and he said to my father, if you buy it, Stanley, I'll run it for you. And he bought it for...
Do you know how much he bought it for?
No, I don't. He bought it for him to run it. I was trying to think of his name. That may come to me in a minute. No, I can't think of his name. But anyway, he bought it, and I don't know how long he was there, but he ran away with another woman.
Oh dear.
So father was left it on his own.
Oh,
but he quite liked it, and he carried on running.
How many acres was it, do you know? Any idea what size?
170, 80.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, yeah. Now, going back to your granddad, you were telling me he ran a furniture shop in East Street.
Yeah, so I've got the photo of that.
No.
That's him,
Which is
now on the front page of the little magazine in the town, isn't it?
I believe your granddad ran the at one time ran the brick kilns in Cone Road.
You ever been to Braxford Wall around there?
Yes.
All the bricks at Braxford Wall were made up at where the fire engines kept now.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I've looked at Braxton Wall. I mean, there must be several million bricks there. I mean, it's about 10 foot high.
You know,
about 4 miles around.
Yeah, there's a slab in it each year they got. Did you know that?
Yeah.
If you go around there, there's slabs with how far they got each year.
How long did it take them? Do you know?
I can't remember, but I've stopped in my car and showed people that this year they got there. So you know,
was that the last job he had, or did he?
Well, I was very old when he died, so I can't tell you much. If you want to know a little bit about that,
yes.
When Burke, I tell you why it was closed.
Yeah.
Changing the subject. Do you know why it was closed?
No.
Well, it was closed in the First World War. Because the kilns glowed at night.
Yeah.
And the Germans were sending Zeppelins over, and they used to aim for that glowing at night. And they knew they were on the right track for London, to bomb London. So the government closed him down.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
And that's why it was closed.
Yeah.
And Birkin bought it, and he carried on making bricks. And the house that I first bought and went into at Tay Road was made of the bricks out of that.
Oh well, that's...
Those houses all along where Mr. Birkin lived, you know where I mean, up Tay Road, stand up high.
Now going back to your school days, what did your boys do at the weekend or in the evening? Did you cycle everywhere, or did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Johnny Walton, my fellow who I was speaking about, his father moved to Danbury, we thought nothing to cycle to Danbury. Used to cycle to Danbury. That's the fast. Used to cycle to. If you wanted to swim at the pool at Braintree, you used to cycle.
Yes. Yeah. What other things was the cinema going then?
Yes, 1 and 6.
1 and 6.
Cinema.
That was on a special Saturday, was it, or?
No, you had it cheaper on a Saturday morning for children's one.
Yes.
But that was 1 and 6 for. There was 3 films a week. So the man who ran it used to bring his car to my garage when I had the garage, and he had one at Dunmow, one at Coggeshall, and one at Hedingham, and he used to have 3 films for the week. And Potter used to have a little Morris 8 and used to swap all the films round. So what was played at Coggeshall on Monday and Tuesday was played at Wednesday, Thursday at Dunmow, and what was played Wednesday, Thursday at Dunmow, was played at Headingham on Friday and Saturday.
And he was a Mr. Potter, was he?
That was Mr. Potter.
Was he a Cockershall man, or?
Yes.
He was, one of the Potters.
Do you remember Mr. Potter working for secretary for Bell?
No,
What was his name?
I don't know.
No.
Anyway, going back to school, was the discipline very hard? Did you get any punishments for anything at all?
Oh yes, I remember boys being caned.
Did you ever get caned?
I remember if I got caned once. I can't remember now. I've gone back
And what
60, 70 years.
Did you have any team sports? You played cricket or football?
No.
No.
No, there was a bit of PT, that was all.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the war we went into a house at the top of a wreck, didn't we? Woodlands, is it?
Oh, Woodlands, yes.
We went into Woodlands. I went into Woodlands in the war.
Mm-hmm. Well, we come to the war years then. What was your dad doing then? During the war years, was your dad?
Well, he had the farm.
He had the farm.
Yes.
And whereabouts was that, you were saying?
Kemp's Farm, Stanway.
Stanway, yes.
Do you ever go and buy your plants from barn plants?
Yeah, I know, yes.
Well,
yes.
that was part of his farm.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And the war years came along, which made a tremendous change. You told me the evacuees came down. And your dad was still farming.
Yes.
And what about your mum? Did she have to do anything, or was she just...
Well, Mother used to, through the war, Mother used to run a little cafe down next to the cinema.
Yes,
Do you remember that little cafe?
Little wooden building, yes.
Well, you'll never guess. What do you reckon that was years ago? What was that put there and built there for?
I've no idea.
That was Cockershall Labour Exchange.
Was it? Oh.
And old Ma Winnie's husband, Charlie Brooker,
I've heard the names.
Used to run it as a labour exchange, which that was there. Then that was finished with the labour exchange, and they went up to that place that you probably know, just inside Queen Street.
Yes.
That was then moved to Queen Street.
Yes. Now, so during the war years, your mother ran that cafe.
Yes.
Did your dad own it? Did she?
Yes.
He'd owned it. Yes.
Yeah. He sold it to the woman at. He sold it to a woman that lived at Bradwell.
Yeah.
Two women. One was one woman married Furman, didn't she? Furman's wife.
Oh yes, I remember.
What was her name?
I don't know. I know who you mean. Yes, I know. So going back to your childhood, recalling the shops in Cockershall in East Street.
Oh yes.
I mean, there was Lake's Garage. Was it Lake's Garage?
Yes, Lake's Garage.
And you told me about the saddler, the harness maker.
Man,
Who was that now? Remember his name?
No, I was at Mowers.
Yeah.
I know it and can't think of it.
And of course,
I should have had Janet sat beside me. She's been here with me.
Well, she doesn't remember too well these days.
Funny enough, she remembers old things better than you.
Well, that's true.
She does. She know that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Of course, there was Mowers grocers, wasn't there?
Yes.
Grocers.
I remember Mowers' father, because the father had it and gave each shop to the boys, didn't he?
Yes, there was one near the post office, wasn't there?
That's right. Denzel and...
I don't know.
I can't think of his name now.
No. What other shops were there in East Street?
Well, there was shoemakers.
Yes.
Opposite Mowers.
Yes. The Mowers shop.
Yes. Then the fish and chip shop.
Oh, fish and chip shop. Yes. That was opposite where the Doll's House shop is.
Yes, that's opposite there. And there was a cafe, Seaton's, the cafe.
Seaton's Cafe. Yes. That was almost opposite the opposite the bank, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. That was very popular.
Yes, it was.
And of course the main garage, which was eventually your dad's.
Evans's.
That was Evans, wasn't it?
Bob Evans. Yeah.
Yes. When did your dad buy that?
I was married 56 and he bought that 58.
Oh yes.
He bought that.
Yeah.
I worked at Deals.
Yeah.
I worked at Deals.
Oh yeah. When you obviously, what age did you leave school?
14.
14. Yeah.
I went to international stores for 15 shillings a week.
And where was that?
what you now call a fish shop.
Yeah, yes.
That was International Stores.
Yes, yes.
I went there for 15 bob a week.
Yes.
After I'd been there a year, I should have got 17 and 6.
Yes.
And after that, I should have been my 3rd year. And that was me, what do you call it?
Well, you were called up, I suppose.
No, you got
Apprenticeship?
apprenticeship. That was apprenticeship for a grocery man. But I didn't like it because there was no men there. All the men had gone to war, and women used to run the shop.
Yes.
And they used to do all the easy jobs, and that's my boy. All I used to do was unloading the lorries and putting stuff away, heavy stuff. I done all the whole heavy work, way up the sugar, way up the...
Did you have to deliver any? Did you have to deliver any goods at all?
And I had to deliver on a bike, so I didn't think much to it. I wanted to be in the motors.
How far did you have to cycle delivering?
I remember them building Rivenal Airfield, because we used to cycle, deliver goods up under there, and I had a pass to drive across the airfield. But I never went to Marks Hall one, but I went to Rivenal up there, and I remember them building that airfield.
Well, we talk about the war years now. You obviously remember Marks Hall being built, of course, the airfield.
Yes.
And then the Americans arrived, of course, what, 1942 or something? Or
that's right.
Did that make a lot of difference to the town?
Well, it reminds me of a funny thing happened. The Americans were here, and I was called in the evening to the school. They used to carry things done in the evening. Left me bike outside, and an American soldier pinched me bike, or airman, but not soldier, pinched me bike and rode it out.
Yes.
They'd have your bike for you if you to ride home on it.
So I know the Americans the bikes were in a great demand, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
To get down from the base to the town.
Yes.
And I know Mr. Johnson did very well selling bikes to them.
Yeah, there was two Mr. Johnson at Church Street, and then there was Swan, Mr. Swan.
Well, that's right.
Opposite
the cricketers.
The cricketers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now going around the town. Now, of course, there was the house on the. Was the Quaker's house still there?
Yes.
Was still there on the corner?
I remember pulling it down. Yeah.
Yes.
What was his name?
I can't. Doubleday.
Doubleday's corner. That's where it come from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that beautiful old house that was.
And of course, you told
us.
He
had a big Ford car, very big, smart Ford car.
Yes.
Used to back it out where you go behind them doors.
Yes.
Those shops now.
Yes, I believe he had blocks on the. Did he have blocks on the controls to control it? It was so small.
I couldn't remember that. He was a Quaker, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was. He used to do all to do with the Quaker church.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He was a Quaker.
And of course, you said the International Stores was there, and then of course the chemist shop was there. Was Stan running it then?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Stan Saunders.
Prentice.
Yeah.
Stan Prentice.
Stan Prentice. That's right.
Yeah.
On the other side was the Friday shop.
Yes. My father owned that.
Yeah.
Years ago.
The Wilshires were there, weren't they? The Wilshires?
Yes, Wilshires were there. Yeah. Friday shop was beside Wilshires, wasn't it?
And who had the other shop a bit further up, one near, which is now the Chinese? There was a...
I can't remember. That was a corn shop.
Yeah.
Used to sell all corns for your chickens and food like that.
And you were still living in what we now call the curtain shop then? And of course, when I came here, Corals had it.
He sold it to
Coles.
Father sold it to Coles for £700.
Unbelievable.
And there was a van to go around the rounds and televisions. Oh, I tell you what they used to do. When he used to go around on the grocery round with a van, it was a little Singer van it was, and he used to charge your accumulator up for a shilling to run your radio. Little glass accumulators they used to have.
Yes.
And they used to have two accumulators, one would be on charge at the shop while the other was being working it. And each week when you got your groceries you had your... I remember he done it down the cellar, there was a machine on the wall down the cellar, used to connect all the batteries up together and charge them all.
The other side of the road of course was the old fire station.
No.
Wasn't it?
No. That was That was Barry's house.
Oh,
hairdresser's.
Barry's.
Barry had that.
Oh, the old hairdresser.
The old hairdresser had that.
That's right.
Yeah.
When was that fire station built then? Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. Well, in the war, that was a fire station in the war.
It was during the war years.
My father was a fireman there,
Yeah.
and I used to go and light the fire for him at nights.
Have you got a picture of your father as a fireman?
Yes, there it is. Do you know when I took the garage over, there was a breakdown lorry in there for breakdowns. And what do you reckon that breakdown lorry was?
No.
The old Coggeshall fire engine was the breakdown lorry.
Well, extraordinary.
Because Evans was the driver. He used to drive it. He was first driver, mechanic. My father was second driver.
Yeah.
And
so during the war years, your dad was a fireman.
yeah, he went to London and fought the fires with the fire engine.
Was that with Uncle Bert as well?
I can't remember Bert going. He probably did.
Yes.
I remember.
So that was your dad was doing normal work and then getting called out.
They used to take it in turns to sleep in the fire station.
Yes.
And be called out. And that fire engine, you sat on a box of a seat, and you sat in the open, you stood on the side of it. And they had no front wheel brakes, because they couldn't put brakes on the front wheels and make them steer and move as well. It only had rear wheel brakes. And that's why the fire people give it up, because they couldn't stop it. And that was my breakdown lorry. I only used it once, because that wasn't funny sitting on that in the cold weather. So we got rid of that, and we had a little ex-army RAF lorry.
So when did your dad take over the garage? In
56.
In
58.
58.
I got married 56. He took over 58.
Yeah. And you say you left the international stores. You went to Deals.
Went to Deals.
As a motor mechanic, trainee.
Yes. And went on there. Not many people got a licence. I got a licence to drive. So I got a lot of running about. And if the breakdowns were, I got sent out to them.
Yes.
Because
and then you got called up.
And I got called up.
Yeah.
And I went to the signals to train to be a driver. And I could drive the lorries very well. I went into an 8-week course. And so they put me in, after 4 weeks, they put me in with the 8-week people. Yeah. And I passed. And everybody got posted. Yes. They all come up on the posting board. Everybody got a posting to different parts. Some went abroad where I'd like to go on. And I got a posting at all. So I went up to find out why. And they said, no, you're stopping here. He said, you're going to teach people to drive. So I got landed in an old airfield in Tolthorpe, just outside, 12 miles outside York. And the first week round and round the airfield, teaching them to go up and down in the gears.
Whereabouts was the airfield?
Just 12 miles outside York.
Oh, York.
The name of the place was called Tolthorpe.
So anyway,
I tried my hardest to get a move, but they wouldn't. They kept me there training.
Oh, you're too valuable, obviously. So after when you came out of the army,
yes,
you went and joined your father, did you? In the business? You didn't?
No, I went back to Deals.
Oh, did you?
Deals didn't want me back. I felt very sorry for him because he had 4 fellas there left and gone in the army. He had to replace them. Then we all come out of the army 2.5 years later. He ain't got to work for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had to take, by law, he had to take me back for 6 months. He took me back, and he got a big contract for doing all the cars for Essex County Council.
Yes.
So he got plenty of work, and of course, I was there and could do the work. So we had plenty of work, so I was all right.
Yeah.
But he not being unkind, not because I wanted good or anything. Norman Mills came out of the army 6 months behind me. Had to take him back.
Yes.
You can't keep taking people back.
Well, there you are.
But he had to.
It was fair, I suppose.
Yeah.
So how long did you stay with him then?
I stayed with him until I was about 28, 27, 28.
Another
And the
long while, another 10 years.
yeah, and the house come on, the garage come on the market,
Mm-hmm.
and father bought it.
Yes.
There's a little tiny tin shed
Yes.
with no this and that on the back,
Mm-hmm.
and he paid £2,000 for it.
Mm-hmm. So he had it made most of it built, did he? He had the.
Well, we kept putting bits on it, buying bits more ground,
Yes.
all for sandwiches. And then the telephone exchange next door,
Oh, the brick building.
brick building, was on the market, so we bought that and added another big MOT testing station next to it.
Yes.
And the old telephone exchange, well, you know what we done with that, don't you?
Yes.
Kept the bus in it.
That's right.
Kept the community bus in it.
That's right. That's right.
I kept the garage open and going for 34 years.
Mm, yeah. Well, yes, tell me, when you first moved to the garage, how much of the car cost? Any idea? About 1958?
£450.
Yes.
Janet paid for her about 540 quid for her four-door Morris 1000.
Morris 1000.
She
Yeah.
still got the bill for it.
Yeah. And what was petrol? Any idea what was
I
petrol?
remember petrol was £5 a gallon for years.
Yes.
Mm.
And
Which is 25 pence now, isn't it? A gallon.
yeah, well, it's probably nearly £5 a gallon now, really. But going back to the war years, do you remember any of the bombs falling on Cockashall?
Oh yes, we had. I had a box with all the. Because Father burned in the fire brigade. He used to go to the aeroplanes that were brought down.
Yes.
There was an aeroplane brought, the German aeroplane brought down at Carn Road.
Mm-hmm.
I can show you the field that was in.
Mm-hmm.
Got past Marksall turn and then turn right.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the left, I remember going up there
Mm-hmm.
to the fire. Remember the church being bombed.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Do you remember that particular night at all, or yourself? Do you recall the
Yeah, I
explosion?
do a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing I do recall, you know, there was an aeroplane run out of fuel,
Mm-hmm.
big bomber
Yeah.
coming in
Yeah.
back, and he couldn't quite land. And he landed at the back of the house at the top of
Grange Hill.
Grange Hill.
Yeah, I remember.
And I remember them pulling the wings, or taking the wings off,
Yeah.
and pulling it out with a big RAF lorry and taking that away.
Yeah.
You know where the Creswells live?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
remember that coming up their drive.
Yes. Now, were you forced to go to church when you were a youngster? Did you have to go to church?
Oh, yes. My uncle
To St Peter's?
Brian
Mm.
was carried across for years,
Mm.
and I was carried a candle. I was called an acolyte,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and yes, we.
Mm-hmm. Were you in the
went to
choir?
church. No, because I was an acolyte.
Yeah, that's
Carried
right.
a candle beside
Yes.
my uncle.
At what age was that? Do you remember? Was that before the war?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Before
Quite young, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well before the war. Must have been before the war because the church was bombed, wasn't it? In the war.
Mm. Do you remember any particular celebrations apart from VE Day? Do you remember the Coronation or Coronation Day?
I can remember my grandmother lived in, and Uncle Bert
Mm.
lived in the little wooden place in East Street,
Oh, yeah.
and
The captain's cabin.
yes,
Mm.
and the Queen was supposed to come through and stop and look at Beckwith's house. That
Oh,
was
that's right.
a lot of things in there, and they kept the pavement clear, and I sat up in the window waiting for her to come,
Yeah.
but she was very late, so she drove straight through and never stopped.
Oh, that
We
was.
got the house all ready.
I think it was Queen Mary, wasn't
That
it?
was.
Queen Mary. She didn't stop.
No, she didn't stop. She was behind time, and there wasn't time to stop. So that was all for nothing. I remember I can see him keeping the pavement clear now, and all the people
Yeah.
flocking there to see her get out the car.
Yeah.
But it never stopped. I went straight through.
Do you remember any eccentric people in the town at all? You know, I don't wish to libel anybody, but anybody, you know, attracted attention and went doing your...
Well, there was a printing place down underneath the
Oh, underneath the post office.
post office, a printing there. And there was a man there, the name of Smith,
Yes.
done the printing.
Yes.
And he used to walk along the road quickly in little tiny steps. And he was always called Clockwork Smith.
Clockwork Smith.
He worked up as Clockwork Smith.
Yes.
I know what, well, because he walked like a clockwork
Yes,
clock.
Yeah.
He was called Clockwork. You know, in the war, you were billeted with soldiers billeted on us.
Yes.
And mother and father had a sergeant billeted on in his house.
Yes.
And he used to, he come to Coggeshall. I tell you what he done. They had a Bedford bus that they used to drive around in, and painted grey. And we went all round the farms, and commandeered all the. I went with him for a ride, a couple of 3 times, and you commandeered all the farmers' big old carts and machinery, and they put it up the road, beside the road. And then if the Germans come, they were going to push them in the road and stop them coming and shoot them. And I can remember that happen.
Yeah.
I remember going over to that Barnes between Whittam. What's the name of the Barnes between Whittam and Crescent Barnes? Beautiful, all tumbles and big wagons. And they pulled them all up the side of the road, and you could push them in the road and block the road when the Germans come, and then you could shoot. Well, when they got out to move the stuff, they were supposed to shoot them and kill them.
I was about your dad working on his farm. I suppose you weren't too hard up for rations during the war years.
You were allowed to. He was allowed to kill 1 pig a year.
Did he do that himself?
No, the butcher was allowed to do it for you.
Yeah.
He had a butcher friend at House Cowan, and he used to do it for him.
Yeah. Now, going back, who was the vicar at the church during your time? Do you remember who the vicar was?
Brown.
Brown, yes.
Brown.
Do you remember the doctors here at the time?
Yes, I do.
Who were they?
Dr. George, Dr. Diane.
Yeah, doctor, yeah.
Well, I don't remember the doctor before him.
And who was that?
Oh, I can't think of his name.
Oh, I think I know. Dr. Moffat, was it? Moffat?
Moffat, yes,
Yeah.
I was Moffat.
Yeah.
Of course it was, yeah, I remember Moffat.
And the policeman during the war years, do you remember him?
Yes, very nice policeman, a good policeman he was. Can't think of his name, but you know what happened to him, don't you?
Yes, Mr. Lewis.
He got on, that's right, Lewis.
Mr.
You know his
Lewis,
name.
yes.
He's a very nice man, very good man.
Yes.
But he got on the bus to sort something out
That's right.
and fell down and died, didn't
That's
he?
right, he
Which
did.
is very sad.
I remember your father actually used to lead the procession on a white horse.
Yes, no, black one.
A black one, was it?
Black horse.
Black horse.
Magic,
Yeah.
Melody.
Yes.
He had 3 horses, black, Mistletoe, Magic and Melody.
Yes. Did he do that every year or nearly most years?
I think most years.
Yes. When did they? Do you remember the colours before the war at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They used to be, the fair was on Lakes Meadow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Did you ever go away on holiday at all with your parents?
No, well,
Didn't-
wartime was on, no.
No.
There's no holidays.
No, you didn't go
We
out.
couldn't go to Clapton or Jaywick, that was all closed off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So anyway, eventually, of course, you got married.
Yes,
What year was that? Do you know?
56.
56. So that was
Yes,
2 years before the garage.
yes.
Yes.
I've been married 2 years.
Yes. And when
My
the-
father, going back a bit, my father nearly bought me a garage at, near just outside Sudbury. But I didn't go for it because there was a house went with it, and I was courting them, but I wasn't thinking of getting married, and we didn't go for it, which I'm pleased we didn't, because Evans has come up later date,
That's
2
right.
years after I married.
And so you joined your father then, did you?
So,
That-
well, he bought it for me.
He bought it for you.
He bought it for me. That was like it's called S.G. Saunders and
Yes.
Son,
Yes.
but he bought it for me,
Yeah.
and he half was mine and half was his. He gave me half for nothing. And he kept on. I suppose if I'd have got into trouble or got anything wrong, he kept an eye on me. And then afterwards, I don't know how many years afterwards, he helped me with the bookwork to start with, do the bookwork. And then he didn't want it, he got rid of it. So I then bought the other half off of him over so many years. I can't tell you, I forget how long now.
So
that become mine.
Were you by yourself to begin with?
Yeah, no, I kept Evans's young boy, as he was in them days, which was he still lives in St Peter's Road now. John, I can't even say his name, John.
Now, when you got married, did you go? Was that your house in Tay Road? You went there when you got married.
Yes. £1,475 that was. £1,400.
Yes, yes.
There was a house in Queen Street I'd have liked to have got, but I couldn't afford that. That was £2,200.
I know.
There's no way you could afford that.
I know.
And there wasn't many houses because there was only one next to. I tell you what, there was one next to the fire station. I could have that for £800, but I had a tap at the back door. No electricity. You had gas lights and a tap at the back door. That's still there.
So yours was a fairly new house when you moved in, was it? Or wasn't all that old?
All that old, no, one new, but one old.
Yes, yeah. That's extraordinary, isn't it, the price of houses? And so you stayed there until you came back?
I stayed there until
your dad
father
yeah.
and mother couldn't live anymore. They lived till they were 99. Mother lived till she was 99.
Cool, that's a great age.
So she was quite happy where she was looked after. People used to go and see her a lot.
Yes.
And I said to her one day, will you, I'll turn the water off in your house. And she said, I don't want that done. I said, well, are you going back, Mum and Dad? They said, no, we're not going back. So I said, well, would you like me to live in it? So she said, yes, we would. So I lived in it.
Moved in here?
Moved in it.
Yeah. Did you belong to any clubs or anything?
Yes, I belonged to a rifle club. And we won the Braintree Lead.
Yeah.
2 years running. There's one cup.
Cool.
And there's two cups. We each had a little cup each, and then the club had a big cup.
Yeah.
There was Hicks's buses.
Where was this club?
Braintree.
At Braintree?
Braintree. There was a Braintree Small Ball League, that was called.
Okay. And where did you fire?
Down in the back of the Chapel Hotel.
Oh.
Used to fire down there. We were 15-yard range.
Yeah.
And they cut a bit off the end of the room.
Yeah.
And
so that was in the long room at the chapel.
That's right.
Upstairs.
But they cut a lump off of it and they weren't long enough, so we had to give up. There was nowhere else to go.
Oh dear.
But we were.
Now, was your wife a local girl?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
You didn't meet somebody in Yorkshire then?
No. How I came to meet her because at the rifle club. I went to the rifle club to take my guns back. Because they kept the guns up there, and they used to do dancing up there on a ballroom dancing for Peggy Percival.
Oh yes, I've heard of her.
She ran it up there.
Yes.
And I met her up there when I took my rifles back, and I started dancing with her.
Yeah.
After I retired, I joined a club at Braintree, M&A Dancers, and we were not too bad at dancers, and the teacher there collared hold of us and got us in competitions, and we, in our retirement, we used to dance and got on quite well. Used to go to...
Do you still dance?
No, not now. My legs are gone now and my knees are bad, and done quite well. We collected 128 trophies and medals. Some of these, which are here now, I remember my Uncle Bert getting the trade bike, which was a little tiny front wheel and a big back wheel, and I stood in the basket, in the big tall basket in the front of that, and he cycled to Kelvedon and see the steam trains pull up in Kelvedon, and took me and went and spoke to the driver, and I see him putting coal on, and he bring me home back home in the trade bike basket.
Oh, look. Of course, do you remember your Uncle Brian?
Yes.
And did you ever go and see him at work at all?
Yes. That's the table he made for our wedding.
Oh yes. Very clever.
Anniversary. Very good carver, that table. He said to me, what would you like, a needlework box, something else? I can't think what it was, or a coffee table. And I said, I'd like a coffee table. And he made that for my wedding present. Well, I remember that there was a man who worked in Wilshire's, I can't think of his name. His name won't come to me if you told. I'd know if I heard it. And apparently he lived with his sister all his life. Lived in a one-bedroom place down there and had a double bed, and they slept together all their life. And I can't think of his name. And he was a little funny little man. He used to walk across. Yes, Mr. Saunders, what would you? Yes, Mr. Saunders, I did it. They slept together. When they were children and brought up the children, they always slept together, and all their life, they brother and sister, and they slept together.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
I suppose you never saw in the pantomimes, did you?
Yes.
You did see them?
I remember being in the pantomime.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh well, tell me about that.
Well, the only thing I can remember about it, I was in the pantomime, and 2 or 3 nights of the week, and no shoes on, running about the stage, and they come home and I was absolutely whacked out tired, and they put me to bed in my sleep, and the next morning when I woke up, the sheets were filthy, because they never washed me. I was so tired they couldn't wash me, and I've been running about the stage with black feet. They put me to bed with black feet.
So this was
black bed in the morning.
So this was before the war.
Yes.
Before the war. Do you remember what the pantomime was? This was in St Peter's Hall, as it was then.
Yes, I think I do. I've got a piece of paper of it somewhere.
So going up Stoneham Street, you had Barry the hairdresser.
Yes.
And what other shops were they called up there? Of course, there was...
They used to have little shops in the front rooms, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
The houses, the cottages had little shops.
That's right.
When you went to school, you went to the shops and bought 2 penn'orth. Going back to when I was a boy, back to school, my uncle had a baker's shop on the corner of Swan Yard, next to what's the butcher shop now.
What was his name?
Saunders.
His name? Was he an uncle of yours?
That was an uncle. And I went there and cut on Saturday morning rather. I took bread out for him round people's houses, which to Orgy Street and all Colchester Road. And I got a shilling for a morning's work.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to use my own bike to go right up to Queen's Head with the bread. And I couldn't repair my tyre because that was worn right out through. And I went to father, I said, I want a new tyre on my bike, Dad, I've got to use it for doing the bread round Saturday morning. And I said, I want some money to buy a new tyre. And he said, you better go and see your boss who you work for, which is my uncle, and tell him you want a rise for using your bike. And I went and told him I want a tyre for there, could I have a rise? And I had a rise. I went up to one and sixpence a week.